Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Meaningful Monday. The subject for tonight is taking charge of yourself, not charge of anything else, charge of yourself. Seems like an easy topic. It's a lot harder to practice than it is to understand. It's easy to understand. It's very, very easy, but not easy to apply. So just for anyone who's new or listening to the recording, Meaningful Monday is the first Monday of every month. It's at 8 o'clock, it goes for about an hour, and then we have a guided meditation at the end. And the purpose is really just to raise awareness. And what awareness are we trying to raise? Well, the awareness we're trying to raise is that you do, in fact, create your own reality. And whatever struggles or challenges you have in your life, every single Meaningful Monday, somehow, some way, helps a person improve their life and really just not only have the understanding that we create our own reality, but also help you apply the practice of creating your own reality. Hello, Nancy. Welcome. Okay, so this lesson tonight called Taking Charge of Yourself comes from Wayne Dyer's best-selling book, The Erroneous Zones. So The Erroneous Zones sold about 30 million copies. It was Wayne Dyer's very first book. He actually, I don't know if you know the story, he disliked his father, who he never really knew. His father left his mother and the 4 kids when he was really, very small. And he never ever found his father. He looked for him his whole life. Why did he look for him? Because he actually wanted to punch him and beat him up for all the anger he had inside him for how he just left his mother and the kids destitute. So he searched for him his whole life, and when he eventually found him, he found him because his father had passed on. And the day he went to his grave, he screamed and swore, and in fact, to be very frank and honest, he urinated on his father's grave. He was so upset, and he was there just venting for about 2 hours, and then he was exhausted from crying and screaming and shouting, and he left. And as he was leaving the graveyard and unchained the hook, something told him to go back. And he hooked the chain back and he went back to the grave, and he said something just came over him, and he looked at his father's grave and he said, from this day forth, I wish you love, I wish you love, I wish you love. And he was completely washed over with forgiveness for his father. And from there, he got in the car and he went and booked himself into a hotel. And he never left the hotel for 2 weeks, and he wrote this book called The Erroneous Zones. Now, it's got to be one of the best-selling books of all of Wayne Dyer's books, selling 30 million copies, and being his first book, it's an outstanding success. So this particular lesson tonight, Taking Charge of Yourself, comes from this book. And I have to say, you know, I've got people here. I've got David, Alejandra, Nancy, Denise, who are busy with a mastermind we're doing right now, Think and Grow Rich, which is really all about changing the way you think. And this is also about changing the way you think. It's from a different perspective, though, and it's completely refreshing. And I have to say, I would like your input at the end, how refreshing you think it is, especially because you people are doing Think and Grow Rich, and some of you doing it for the second time round. So let's get into this lesson and see just what it's all about. So first of all, when Wayne Dyer talks about your erroneous zones, he said many people, when they bought the book from a bookshop, were leaving it in a plastic bag, or a brown paper bag, thinking it was an erotic book, like your erotic zones. It's actually got nothing to do with that at all. The word erroneous comes from the word error, meaning mistake. So it's about incorrect thinking, just wrong thinking, which causes us undue unhappiness, undue stress in our life, undue worry. So basically, erroneous zones are what he calls traps of negative thinking and destructive patterns which act as barriers to our success and happiness. And the word barriers is accurate because the way you feel creates what we call our mood or vibration, and that attracts everything into our life that we experience, all our experiences, our conditions, our circumstances, the people. So if we have negative thinking and these are destructive, then we are attracting negative experiences to us. So there are barriers because everybody wants to be more happy and everybody wants to be more successful. The refreshing news, or something that's a little bit more comforting, is that we all have erroneous zones, every single one of us. So this is really something that everyone could listen to at any stage and learn from, and you could even do this a year from now or 2 years from now, and you'll still learn something every time. So this is really, as Wayne Dyer says here, the state of your life is nothing more than a reflection of the state of your mind. So we keep talking about our mind and our thinking and our habit pattern of thinking. It may sound repetitive, but hear this. We learn through repetition, spaced repetition over time. That's how we learn. And I can tell you that we know things often. However, we don't apply them. The biggest gap in the world is that between which we know and that which we do. And every time you hear something repeatedly, slowly but surely, tiny little incremental changes in behavior start developing, and over time, that's how you really improve. So never think, oh, I know this, great, It's not about how much you know. It's about how much you do with what you know. They say knowledge without application is pointless. So this erroneous zones, I'm going to actually dive into more than one of the chapters in the book, even over other Meaningful Mondays as well, because the content is really just so valuable. And I just have to share this, so please forgive me, but it's really something I find quite fun. For those of you who may know, I can't see a copy here. Let me just grab it. I recently wrote a book. Well, I published a book this year. I wrote it about a year and a bit more ago. I can't see a copy here. Here it is. And this book that I wrote came to me in a dream. Well, I have to tell you that the idea of sharing Wayne Dyer's erroneous zones also came to me in a dream. In fact, Wayne Dyer was in my dream and suggested that I do this, and it was a really interesting dream. So I decided to honor that. So these two central themes that I'm going to carry through are, number one, your ability to make choices about your own emotions. This sounds easier said than done. And as we go through, you'll see what I mean when I actually put verbatims in front of you of what we very often say as a habit that we've been taught by our parents, by our culture, by society, where we often think that things are not our choice when it comes to how we feel emotionally. So that's the first one. Your ability to make choices about your emotions. Secondly, a pleasant approach to achieving happiness. An approach that...
Oh, you're back?
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Wow.
I don't know how that happened, or I don't even know what happened.
Technology.
And it's still recording, so this is very good. Let me just share the page again. I'm glad you're all still there. It's kind of a bit, seems like a bit of a miracle. Now, okay, there we go. I can see you all now. All right. Okay. Right, so the second one is a pleasant approach to achieving happiness, which is taking 100% responsibility for what? What are we taking responsibility for? Any guesses?
Action.
For what?
Action.
Actions.
No?
Emotions.
Yes.
Our life, our thoughts and emotions in our own life.
Yes, about how we feel.
Yeah.
It's about taking 100% responsibility for how we feel. And as I said, is that the biggest gap is between that we know that we do. So the truth is that your life so far, as you're enjoying it or whatever it is actually the sum total of all the choices you've made. So life is a continuous stream of decision making. And this is why decision making is actually a skill. In the Silva method, we place a lot of emphasis on decision making. There's a technique called the glass of water to help make decisions. And then 2 days is spent on intuition. Why? Why intuition? Because intuition can be helpful in your life to make the right decisions for you. We all make wrong decisions from time to time, every single one of us. And some of them are really massive decisions, and they cause us huge pain or loss, whether that's pain in relationships, pain physically, hurting yourself, wrong decision, doing some silly thing like myself. I fell off a wall on my neck, was in a neck brace unnecessarily, stupid decision. Or loss, lose a lot of money, lose a relationship, lose a business, lose whatever it may be. So it comes down to decisions we make, but then about taking responsibility, not just for the decision, but for how we feel, whatever turns out from the decision that we've made. So taking charge of yourself begins with awareness. I'm not saying any of you here are a victim. I am saying from time to time, we all experience a little bit of victim mentality, and that's just the truth, unless you're very, very aware, and, that's possible. So what we're really trying to do is move into almost like a permanent state of victim mentality, because a person who's a victor is a winner because they take ownership and responsibility for every single thing in their life, whether they like the thing or not. So all the good, all the bad, all the ugly, they turn and they say, it's my responsibility. Either it's my responsibility that I created this, or it's my responsibility to either change it, or it's my responsibility, if I can't change it, to accept it. And if you can't change it and you need to accept it, sometimes in life, the things that are bothering you the most don't change, because the only thing left to change is you. And that's why we actually have these experiences, is not to keep us frustrated, it's to give us the opportunity to grow. And we grow because we change ourselves. And the thing that we change ourselves that's most important is the way we feel about it. This whole lesson is about owning how you feel about anything that happens ever in your life. Okay. I love this. Happiness and your own IQ. So, wow, here we go again. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm just apologize. I don't know. It's not me. It's this connection. I'm not doing this from home again. I'll do it from my office. I know my connection there at night I can trust, because the street's empty. The suburb is packed at night. I mean, the bandwidth here, I'm not too sure if it can cope. All right, let's just give this another shot. Let's get back to where we were. Are you all there?
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't see you now. What's going on?
Whoops.
Okay. All right, I'm so sorry. Let's give another shot. Okay, so happiness and your IQ. So very often we think that intelligence, is about solving complex problems. How well we read, how well we write, how well we solve equations or abstract things. A much truer barometer of intelligence is actually, how happy are you? I'm serious. How happy are you? That's actually intelligence. What kind of life do you have? How effective are you in balancing your life with harmony? And how do you actually live each day ongoing? Is it consistent? Is it haphazard? Oops, sorry. Is it one day up, one day down, one day up, one day down? So intelligence is really not an indicator. I mean, IQ is not an indicator of intelligence. What's really an indicator of intelligence is EQ. So your emotional intelligence is what it's all about. It's how you choose to feel in your most trying circumstances. When the times are tough, they say it's then that it doesn't make the man, it reveals the man. There's a saying, the hardest times in your life show you who you are. Your character comes out when your back's up against the wall. So when there's a crisis and when things go wrong, that's when you really reveal the true character of a person. And it's also the opportunity to reveal what is your emotional intelligence quotient. What's the score there? Because it's really how are you going to feel? How are you going to choose to feel? Because we think sometimes we don't have a choice. It's the most disempowering idea you could ever have, and the most limiting belief. To think that if you ever say or think, I don't have a choice, please just have such an awareness and a cancel if you ever say that, because it is never, ever true that you don't have a choice. Ever. Except maybe when you pass on. That's about the only one. So the truth is, everybody has life struggles. If you look at people and you think, wow, this guy's got a really easy life, everything's going well for him, he's always smiling, he's feeling happy as ever, you know, I hear the guy laugh, I hear him. Don't think that that person's life is without troubles. It's not that their life is without troubles, it's that the way that they respond and feel about their troubles is different to someone else who's always freaking out. So the best way to think of EQ as a level and measure of intelligence is just pay attention to a 2-year-old child. Anyone here have or has had a 2-year-old child? Please just raise your hand. Right, all those people there. You can tell me, what does your child do when he doesn't get, or she, when she doesn't get what she wants?
Have a tantrum.
Right.
Yeah.
Say it again, have a tantrum?
Start screaming.
Start screaming. Right. Okay.
Or crying.
Starts crying, has a tantrum, freaking out. And what do they do when they're very, very angry?
They
Throw themselves on the floor.
They throw themselves on the floor. Okay, we don't do that as adults, but they might throw something.
Throw things,
Yeah, or they might just freak out. So that you can understand, that person hasn't developed emotionally yet. Now, unfortunately, some people in their adulthood actually behave similar to their 2-year-old child, just a little bit more refined, but pretty much the same. I was in the bank the other day, and there was a long line in the queue, and the queue wasn't moving very fast. And a person at the back of the queue had no emotional intelligence because they felt it was quite appropriate to start screaming at the staff in the bank on the top of their voice so that everyone could hear, because they wanted everyone to hear how bad the service was and that something should be done about it and the manager should be called and a whole big song and dance. Attention, 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 solve my problem, where? That's exactly a typical example. It doesn't have to be that way. You can control whatever it is that's going on inside you. So disagreements, conflicts, money issues, sickness, death, natural disasters, accidents, these are all events that present problems to virtually all human beings. Everyone experiences some of these at some time or other. The difference is that intelligent people don't have breakdowns. They don't have freakouts. They don't, sorry, this slide keeps changing. They are very much in charge of themselves. They don't let circumstances control them and let the emotions take over them. So people who recognize problems as a human condition and just a basic part of life, they don't measure their happiness by an absence of problems. They choose the way they feel, and they are the most intelligent kind of human beings. So just that you have the awareness, happiness is not the absence of problems. And if you feel unhappy right now in your life in any area because there's something that's not the way you think it should be, or you wish it was not there, or you wish it was different, it's causing you unhappiness, you've got to accept the fact that it's not causing you unhappiness, you are. It sounds terribly confrontational and rude of me to speak like that, direct and blunt. This is what this chapter in Wayne Dye's book says. It's to your face. It says, that thing's not causing you unhappiness, you causing you unhappiness. Because why? Because you can choose to feel any way you want. It says in the Bible, we have dominion over all things. Dominion over our mind. That's really over most things is our mind, because how we interpret the world. Okay? So learning to take total charge of yourself actually is going to involve a whole new thinking process. Now, as I said, many of you here are doing the Think and Grow Rich Mastermind, and you're ready into a new thinking process, yes, it might be directed towards goal achievement or creating wealth, spiritual richness. But let's just look at life overall. It does involve a whole new thinking process when we really want to be in charge of the experience we're having. Do you want to have a happy life? Do you want to have a peaceful life? Do you want to have a life with joy, fun, laughter? You can have it no matter what's going on in your life. If you're not having it and you want to have it, the only difference between the two is the way you think. Now that sounds overly simplistic, but it's the truth. So feelings are not emotions that just happen to you. And this is what children experience. If you ask a child to explain this thing of their feelings, they couldn't explain it to you. They'll just tell you, but I'm just angry, but I'm just sad, or they just cry. Because they're too small to understand it and to be able to intellectualize it. So if we don't mature emotionally and get a grip on our emotions instead of our emotions getting a grip on us, we grow up with this erroneous thinking, which Wayne Dyer calls your erroneous zone, wrong thinking that feelings are just the emotions that happen to you. No, they're not. Feelings are the reactions that you choose to have. All of them. You choose them. And if we want to not experience those negative feelings, well, we really do have the choice. The question is, do we exercise that choice, or is it just easier to be a victim and complain? Because complaining is a habit. The thought that precedes the complaint is also a habit. It's a habitual pattern of thinking. When things go wrong, I'm just going to complain. I'm just going to feel bad. I'm going to complain. I'm here to gently and kindly and persuasively say to you, this lesson is to raise your awareness that it's nothing like that. Everything that goes wrong, when you feel all those negative feelings, is that you can choose different ones. You have the power to think whatever you choose. And when you really get this, now this I'm saying, the biggest gap is that between that we know and that we do. When you really get this, not at an understanding intellectual level, but in practicing it repeatedly, I have to tell you, it's your ultimate freedom. It's also your ultimate happiness, because you really are taking 100% responsibility for your life. And your life is just a whole series of experiences, a whole series of choices and of decisions that you're making minute for minute every day of your life. And when you are in charge, you can choose for them to be joyous, happy, or you can choose for them to be negative, complaining, and things that can drag you down, or the feeling of being overwhelmed. So thought always precedes a feeling. So I just wanted to explain this on a biological level, because some people actually don't know this. And when they get this scientific side of it, it helps you understand yourself. A thought is like a light switch. The minute you think a thought, any thought, if I said, think of, let's just say I said, you've won, it's a silly example, but let's say you've won a month holiday overseas in any destination of your choice, all expenses paid, and it's absolutely VIP and 5-star. You've just won this. If you said, wow, and you feel great about it, the minute you have that feeling of feeling that's great and you're happy about it, what's really happened is the minute the thought has gone through your brain and created that neural pathway, a chemical reaction has taken place within your body, and that is the feeling. If I said to you, I don't know, some bad news of whatever kind that'll make you really angry, I don't know what would make you angry, but let's just say someone on purpose drove into your car and they smashed it up, and it's going to be a whole inconvenience to get it fixed now, and they don't have insurance, so you're going to have to sort it out. And that just like upsets you. The feeling that you have is a chemical reaction. So if you look at these pictures here, that lady's blushing. Now, how does she come to blush? Well, something happened and a thought went through her head that was either embarrassing or made her shy or something. And the thought caused the chemical reaction which changed her physiology and made her cheeks go red. Now, she doesn't actually have control over that blushing really unless she practices it or visualizes a lot. But she does have control over the thought. She may not think so, but she really does. So if we can control the thoughts, we catch them first, avoid the chemical reaction that gives us the feeling if we don't want it. If you see the lady who's crying, the same thing. We think a thought, and when we feel sad, the feelings release chemicals in the body, and it's crying, tears come out. That guy there, if you see, he looks nervous. Have you ever been so nervous that you're nauseous or so sick to your stomach with worry or something? That again is thoughts, and the thoughts release chemicals, and that chemical reaction is the feeling that you're getting of nausea. And the same, that last picture, that lady, let's just say that lady's in love. She's feeling in love. What a euphoric feeling. There's nothing in the world. Nothing tops the feeling of being in love. It's got to be the best feeling on earth. And how that feels inside, that it's like you're walking on a cloud kind of feeling. It starts with the thoughts that you hold. When we get this, we can really, and we can come to know that we can manage our feelings if we can just, with discipline and persistence, take control of our thoughts when we don't want to feel bad or when things go wrong. It's when things go wrong that we most need to become aware, pause, and choose how we're going to think about it, how we're going to view it. Remember, you can view anything any way you like. I think I was talking to Nancy the one day at the office about this thing that I call the gap between stimulus and response. The gap between something that happens, which I call the stimulus, and the response that you give to that situation is your point of power. This is when we say we have dominion over all things. It's your point of power. You have the power to absolutely change your life if you can learn that the feelings from things when they go wrong are really up to you. And in that tiny gap between stimulus and response, you can choose something different than what you're choosing today if you're unhappy about certain things in your life, or you think that or you feel unhappy about certain things. Those feelings, those negative feelings, are your opportunity. It says here, you believe that things or people make you unhappy, but this is not accurate. You make yourself unhappy because of the thoughts that you have about the people or things in your life. So think about that. Every time you were unhappy or angry or frustrated or sad, try this. It might sound awful, but try it. Tell yourself, I'm making myself unhappy, even though someone did something that you don't like or something happened that you don't like. When you get that feeling, if you can just say, it's me, I'm making myself unhappy, you will slowly become a person who I call free. You will enter a whole new kingdom of freedom. The biggest freedom you can ever choose in your life is this freedom to know that you can choose the way you feel. So once you can change your thoughts, your new feelings will begin to emerge, and then you'll have taken the first step on that road to your personal freedom. So to become a free and healthy person, and I say healthy because illness comes from thoughts. From thoughts that create negative emotions that are prolonged. Is 95% of all illness is self-created by our thoughts and feelings. So to become a free and healthy person involves learning to think differently. Okay, I love this slide the most out of the presentation tonight. These are some sayings that have convinced you over time that you don't actually control your feelings. This is when I say society and your culture has conditioned you, all of us, including me, everybody, we've been conditioned by society and our culture that there are certain things that we've been convinced of where we don't control our feelings. So we're often taught to believe that, you know, someone can hurt your feelings. Haven't you ever said that? I mean, I've said that in my own life. I've said to someone, you really hurt me when you said that. So this is the one, okay? Just let's park that for a second. Let's go through them all. The next one is, you make me feel whatever. You make me feel bad. You make me feel angry. How many times do we say that? Or we think that this person makes me mad. This person makes me angry. This person makes me frustrated. Or I feel really bad because something they said. How often do we say, I can't help the way I feel? If you think about that, you might be feeling down and someone's trying to talk you out of it, and you just say, I can't help the way I feel. I'm just mad right now. Or I can't help the feel. I'm just unhappy right now. These are common, right? Just agree with me. These are common things you've thought and said in your life. Or the last one, I just feel angry. Don't ask me to explain. Like, why are you upset? I don't know. I just feel upset. Just acknowledge, please, for yourself, if any one of these, even if it's once every now and then, but we do say these, and we say them because we've been taught them. We've been hearing them as babies, and we grew up and we keep hearing them, and we still potentially use them. So this is really taking charge of yourself. And listen how straightforward this is, or confrontational and direct, but this is the key to your freedom. So the first one is, you hurt my feelings. How about this? I hurt my feelings because of the things I told myself about your reaction to me. I know this sounds bizarre, but if we could just try this, the next time you're feeling hurt, just say to yourself, I hurt my feelings because of the thoughts I'm holding right now about the situation. How's the second one? You make me feel bad. I made myself feel bad. We never say that. But this is the truth. This is the opportunity we have. I made myself feel bad, taking 100% responsibility for the way we feel. This one, I can't help the way I feel. I can help the way I feel, but I've chosen to be upset. That's honest. If any of you have any of these in your life and want to improve and get this ultimate freedom, every time you have negative emotions, start it with, I can help the way I feel, but I've chosen to feel, and put there whatever it is that you're feeling. And as you do this, you're going to create an awareness that you really are in charge. And you know what? If you want to feel unhappy and you say that you chose it, that's okay. But you say that you feel upset and you didn't choose it, it happens to you, is completely disempowering. Now, the last one is my favorite. I want to know if anyone can guess what's written in that block. I'll give you a prize. I swear, I'll take you out for coffee. If anyone can kind of guess, what would you say in that other block? It says, I feel angry. Don't ask me to explain. I just feel angry.
I'm angry because I choose to be angry.
Yep. And why do you think we choose to be angry?
Easier. Easy way out.
It's easy, yep. And what does it do to people around you?
Pushes them away.
It either pushes them away, or think when you get very angry with your child. What does it work? How does it work for you?
The mission.
You accomplish the mission.
Yeah, submission, yeah.
Oh, they submit. Yes, it's submission. So think about, and a child's the best example. A naughty child, let's say, I don't know, what do naughty kids do? He's making a mess somewhere unnecessarily, and you get angry with a child, so you raise your voice and shout at him or her. What are you actually doing when you shout?
Attention.
Sorry?
You're giving the child attention, and any attention that they can get is better than, whether it's good or bad, is attention.
Okay, that's what they're seeking. So that's what they wanted. They wanted attention, even if it's good or bad. I agree. But why do we get
But you're
angry?
actually making them feel horrible.
Yeah, so what do we do when we get angry to the other person? Let's be honest. To the
Make
child,
them
stop
feel
doing
bad.
that. What are we doing to them?
We're making them feel bad. Feeling sorry for, oh no, not feeling sorry.
We're making them feel sad.
Making them feel small, like,
Or scared.
or scared, yeah, okay.
Yeah, just think. If someone gets really angry with you, they scare you to a degree.
Yeah.
So look at this. Watch this block, guys. This is like really revealing, but it's so helpful to see it this way. It says here, I just feel angry. Don't ask me to explain. Well, actually, this is what the truth is. I've decided to be angry because I can usually manipulate others with my anger. Because it scares them and they don't like seeing me angry.
Mm.
I'm going to have to pause here and let you read it for yourself again. So with this awareness, we could change so much in our life with our relationships, with our happiness, and with our own peace of mind. And this slide has got, I've got to say, this for me was gold. When I put this together and I got it from the lesson, I just felt that this was really the most illuminating of all the information, because these are typical verbatims. And if we could just remember the other side of the column on the right, with awareness and repetition, it can slowly begin to change us and our happiness. Okay, I'm going to move on. So taking charge of yourself means quit complaining. To quit complaining is much more difficult to do than to just hear or think. Complaining, everyone's different to the degree to which they complain, but we all complain from time to time, and it's all learned behavior, and it's all habitual behavior, and a lot of it is on autopilot. We were on the radio today, myself and Claire, doing the Meaningful Monday show on radio, and it wasn't this topic, it was a similar one though. And Claire was just saying that she grew up, her whole family were complainers. Everything they complained about, everything, the weather, wake up in the morning, the temperature in the house, the breakfast, the fact that you got to go to work or you got to go to school, or anything, whatever you can complain. It was just like a culture, complaining culture. And she said she had to work her way out of it in her adulthood when she realized how damaging it was to her life experience. And it took not a few days or a few weeks, it took years for her to actually change, but she did overcome it. And she says that her sister, when they had this discussion, said to her, she actually wakes up in the morning and she thinks to herself, what is it that I can worry about today?
Yes.
And I know this sounds crazy for some people, but I hope that if this Meaningful Monday is recorded, if you know anyone who complains or worries, please share this YouTube link when it's published. Share it with them to help them raise awareness, because Claire said she didn't actually know this until she read Louise Hay's book called Heal Your Life. And Wayne Dye and Louise Hay, I mean, their work is beautifully aligned and similar, and they were very good friends too. So, you know, it's a habit. So quit complaining. I would challenge everybody to try to tell everyone in your household and everyone at your work and all your friends to hold you accountable every time you complain, and try to fast, like we fast with not eating food. Try to take a 30, even a week, man. I don't want to go 30 days. I don't want to, be too much here. Take 7 days and see if you could try to quit all complaining for 7 days. And when you do this, you will realize how much you actually complain. We complain so much, we don't realize how much we complain. All of us, including myself. So all of you here, if you ever hear me complain, please, I want you to say you're complaining and let me know, because I want to quit complaining altogether. So you can be the source of the solutions instead of being the announcer of the bad news and just complain. Henry Ford said, don't find fault, find a remedy. Anybody can complain. Years ago when I was working in corporate, most of the time I always had a team. And, I don't know how it is for any of you, but when I started in a new role with new people in the beginning, before I could help condition them or change them or train them, whatever the word you want to use, they all used to come to me with their problem. Jeanine, I have a problem. Something's gone wrong here. The client doesn't do that. This has happened. And it was only through rebuttal all the time back to them saying, when you come to my desk and tell me about the problem, please bring the solution or 2 or 3 solutions with you, and let's discuss which of those 3 we're going to, put in place. But never come to the table with the problem if you haven't thought about a solution, because you're not thinking. And you're very intelligent, and all of us are, and we've got a lot of ideas in our head if we only use them. So training yourself to never just complain, but say, what's the solution to this problem? And come and discuss the solution. That's gold. It helps a person think a certain way. You train yourself to think solutionizing. And isn't it better when someone comes to you and says, this person's cancelled and it's caused this repercussion, but why don't we do this and this or this? Which shall we do? I thought of this one. What do you think is the best idea? And discuss the solution, because then you're always in solution mode, and that's a positive direction in your brain, and you train yourself to think that way. So just going back to the slide here, it's basically the question to ask yourself is, how do you show up in life? Do you show up complaining, or do you show up to discuss and find solutions? Because these 2 scenarios are vastly different. Okay. So taking 100% responsibility. In order to master this kind of fulfillment of being happy and peaceful and joyous, you'll need to repeat endlessly that your mind really is your own and that you are capable of controlling your own feelings. John Maxwell said, if you take 100% responsibility for everything in your life, you will have a greater desire to fulfill your dream. And you think, how are these 2 ideas related? But they really are. And think about it and just try it as an experiment. Everything in your life that's not right, take 100% responsibility for it. And the best example is a relationship, a marriage, a partnership, a friendship. When it's not great and there's things that are not working and you're not happy with things, it's not about taking 50% responsibility and the other person 50% responsibility, and that's how we're going to solve the marriage or the relationship. It's taking 100% responsibility for the relationship and only having that mindset. Don't blame anybody. Don't ask of them. Don't expect them to change. Don't anything. You take 100% responsibility of the relationship that you want. And I've actually got a book. It's called it's called Boundaries in Marriage, and bound is in red. So it goes bound in marriage, like you bound, like you shackled and imprisoned, bound in marriage, but it's actually boundaries in marriage. And it's about creating boundaries. When you talk about what's going on and you say what you allow and what you don't allow. So you don't allow, for example, to carry all the load, or you don't want to be let down, or you want to, I don't know, share responsibilities, running the house, or whatever it may be. But discussing and sorting it out is taking 100% responsibility. You could complain. That's the other weak choice of the victim. You never help around the house. That's complaining. Try taking 100% responsibility. We did this as an exercise years ago when I was running a leadership mastermind. And the one girl, she said, I'm always complaining. My husband never shares the workload, and we both work. And she just experimented with this taking 100% responsibility, and she didn't complain. She did what she wanted to do and what she didn't want to do. She asked him to do, but she took 100% responsibility. And in the beginning, she never actually asked him to do much. And she said, just her not complaining anymore and just getting on with it, he got up off his bum and he started to help her in the kitchen with the dishes, help her with the washing, and all this. And she said, I couldn't believe that he changed. I didn't even say anything to him. And that's really evidence of taking responsibility. So it doesn't only change you, it changes the people around you. Okay, learning not to be unhappy can be a tough assignment. So look, happiness is easy. We're all happy when things go right. But learning not to be unhappy can be difficult. It can be a challenge. It's a new way of thinking, because we think that circumstances make us unhappy. So it's actually learning not to be unhappy. Happiness is actually a natural condition. If you look at children, when they're very small, if they're not in a traumatizing environment, they're all happy. They laugh, they have fun, they're happy. So all our complaining and blaming is learned behavior. It's conditioned. And the reason I put that there is because you can unlearn it and you can change. New thinking requires awareness of the old thinking. So you now have more awareness. You've heard this, and Wayne Dyer's added value here about sharing this information, which I'm sharing with you. So you have awareness. So now you've got new awareness. Now you need to have new thinking and start to change those patterns. It says you're thinking that the causes of your feelings are outside of yourself will require new thinking and many hours of reinforcement, because it's simply not true. Nothing outside of you causes your feelings. Happy, sad, frustrated, whatever it may be. And then, of course, the way we think is a habit. I'm being honest and truthful. It's not easy to think new ways because we're accustomed to a certain set of thoughts. And it's a habitual pattern. So, as I said, it's easy when we are happy, but learning to not be unhappy, it takes work. So changing the way you think then leads to your feelings. So changing the way you think or feel or live is possible. It's not easy, but it is worth it. It takes a lot of work. This saying by Henry Ford is very true. He says, thinking is the hardest work there is, which is probably the reason that so few engage in it. Do you know it's much easier to do manual labor all day than to choose to think a new way? It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of awareness and continuous repetition. It's like banging on a drum over and over again. And it's so easy to slip back into the old way of letting our old habitual patterns run. But if you really want to increase your happiness in your life and your success, you need to put in the effort to create a new way of thinking, especially when it comes to your emotional response. So Wayne Dyer says it's easy to be a critic. Of course it's easy to be a critic. It's very easy to complain. It's very easy to say you're unhappy. It's very easy to say, you made me feel this way. You did this. You see, you never did. Blame. But being the doer requires effort. It requires risk, because you really are taking responsibility. And the risk is this. What if it doesn't work? You can complain when things don't go right. You can complain and it's not your fault. But if you take 100% responsibility for everything in your life, the risk is it's all on you. And it truly really is. And if we take that responsibility, I promise you, it's actually liberating, because you are empowered. And you're empowered and you can make that change. I love this. People are always blaming their circumstances for what they are. I don't believe in circumstances. The people who get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances that they want. And if they can't find them, they make them. That's definitely a victor mentality, the opposite of a victim mentality. So, love that quote. If you don't have the circumstances in your life, in your relationships, Create them. In your money, create them. In your health, create them. In your spirituality, create them. In your fun and recreation, create them. Wherever you don't have what you want, create it. Take responsibility. Okay. This is the second last slide, but this is a little bit in depth, but really very good. It says here, taking charge of your life. I've got a few notes on this. So choice is your ultimate freedom. Just think about this freedom thing. If you were severely punished every time you were unhappy and you expressed your unhappiness, you were like tortured, very, very quickly you start to take control of your emotions and you react differently. Now, we're not tortured, so we don't change quickly. The question you must ask yourself is, what must you endure before you make a new choice? And this is a good question, because sometimes life throws us into a predicament that is so difficult, that is so challenging. Why? Because it's going to force us, if nothing else, to change the way we think. And that's the blessing in disguise with every situation. It says here that some people choose to go insane rather than take control. And that's true. Did you know that dementia has been proven to be people who don't want to cope with reality? It says here other people merely give up and succumb to a life of misery because the reward of the pity received is greater than the reward of being happy. So some people prefer to complain because they get attention. They prefer to complain because people pity them. It also says, here's some ideas. You can choose to make any experience enjoyable and challenging. So here's some for you guys. Any dull parties or boring meetings that you have coming up, any day at work you have coming up, starting tomorrow, let's say, or any ordinary day at home coming up, like tomorrow. This is fertile territory for choosing new feelings. Take the opportunity to try this out. And I'm telling you, it's going to be difficult. It's easier to stay the old way because that's our habit pattern. If you want to change, to be more happy, take the opportunity. It's fertile ground, go for it. The more you do it and use your mind to create this terrific habit of not being upset when things go wrong or don't please you, you're going to create a fantastic habit because it's something that you can learn and you will be in charge of your own happiness. The next one there, choosing health over illness. A lot of people, sorry to say it, I don't want to offend anyone, some people love their ailments and they love their conditions because they get a lot of sympathy that way. And I was saying to Nancy the other day that Sadhguru, I don't know if you know the guy on YouTube with the big beard and the turban on his head, Sadhguru was saying that society and our culture actually conditions our children to be sick because they get the most attention when they're sick. If you think about how busy adults' lives are in families today, a child does get the most attention when they're sick. So you want more attention? I'll get it when I'm sick. So we're actually creating this conditioning. And it lasts an entire lifetime. I have a friend in South Africa who I would potentially call a hypochondriac. Her mother was like that. So she learned it from her mother. Always on tablets, always having an operation, always something else. And actually not happy to be healthy. I'm just letting you know. It all starts and ends with our thoughts. And by the way, you can overcome any condition if you want to. In the Silva method, Nancy's overcome an autoimmune disorder with rheumatoid arthritis, someone else diabetes, another Silva method trainer. I know this sounds extreme and it might be hard to believe, but she overcame full body paralysis. She broke her neck at 22, was paralyzed from the neck down, and through 7 years of constant visualization and using her mind, she's in perfect health today. So health is really a choice. It's a choice. Do we want to be healthy, or do we want to have all these ailments and get all the sympathy? It really is a choice. The next one, avoiding immobilization. So immobilization can range from total inaction to mild indecision or just hesitancy. So the question is, does your anger or shyness or hate or jealousy keep you either from saying things or feeling something or doing something? Anytime that it holds you back, you're immobilized. So virtually all negative emotion results in some degree or other of self-immobility or immobilization. And this is a really good reason to just get rid of this entirely from your life. We don't need to be immobilized. It holds us back, makes us progress slower, we grow slower, we learn slower, and we get our success slower. There's another opportunity, is to act. Don't stay immobilized. If you recognize it in yourself, break that habit. It's really very dangerous because it just can grow as a habit pattern. The next one is the importance of living in the present moment. Well, the present moment living, or getting in touch with right now, how you are right now in this now moment, is honestly and truly the heart of effective living. There are so many books and courses and studies and programs about mindfulness. Mindfulness is all about in the present moment. If this is a strange concept or seems a bit weird, what does this actually mean? Well, it just means this. We go through our life either in our minds thinking about something we have to do in the future and how that's going to pan out, or either worrying about it or anticipating it, whatever it may be, or we are evaluating something that's happened and reliving it, or thinking, I should have said this, I should have done that, something in the past or something in the future. We very seldom are right in the now. There are certain things that are fantastic to practice being in the now. I don't know if anyone does rock climbing, but you try. You can't think of anything else when you're rock climbing than rock climbing. If you play golf, you can't think of anything else whilst hitting that ball or putting. You can only think of the putting. I was painting a weekend or two ago. If it takes you 2 hours to paint something, you can't think of anything else while you're painting except the paint that you're doing, what color, what shape, what you're brushing. Those are really good examples of things to do to practice being in the now. And that's why it's so relaxing to paint, do art, play music. Play music's another example of being in the present moment. So our culture actually de-emphasizes the now. It's like a disease that we have, that we're never enjoying the now. We're always in the future or in the past. The mind wanders on to, what are we going to do when we get home? What are we going to do with the kids? I need to go and get the groceries. I've got to do this. I've got to do that for work, whatever it may be. And then the last one there, growth versus imperfection as motivators in our life. So look, you can be motivated in your life either out of a proactive desire to grow, which is the best way, and all of you are that kind of person, otherwise you wouldn't be on this Meaningful Monday, guaranteed. You are proactively keen enthusiasts for personal growth. So high five to all of you. Well done, I commend you. Now, there are other people who only grow because they've got something going wrong, and it's like to repair deficiency. So if you recognize that you can always grow or improve or become more and greater than what you are, then that's great. When you choose to be immobilized or to experience hurtful emotions, you just made a non-growth decision, because that means you're not changing and you're not becoming better. So every time you complain, remind yourself, this is a non-growth behavior. Every time you get negative emotion about something, remind yourself, this is a non-growth behavior. So we can always grow with tomorrow's a perfect learning ground. Whatever takes place tomorrow, see how you go. Try to not complain for 7 days. You'll see how challenging it is. Tell everybody that you're with to beat you up or raise your awareness about every time that you complain. So here's a quick sum up of tonight. Your ability to make choices about your emotions. Your choice, whatever that is. Taking 100% responsibility. No victim mentality. Don't blame anyone or anything ever. Intelligence is emotional intelligence, not IQ, not intellectual. And just a reminder that happiness is not the absence of problems. We all have problems, but some people are happy and some people are perpetually unhappy. They all kind of have the same things going on in their lives. So it's not about the absence of problems. It's how we face them, respond to them, and emotionally, respond to them is the right word. How we emotionally respond to them. Feelings are reactions that you can choose. That's a spelling error, sorry. You have the power to think whatever you choose, and that's your ultimate freedom. You make yourself unhappy. Whenever you're unhappy, tell yourself, I chose this. I chose to feel unhappy. I chose to feel angry. I chose to feel frustrated. Because you do make yourself unhappy, and the answer is always. Quit complaining. So instead of complaining, find a solution. Talk about the remedy. Brainstorm. And learn not to be unhappy when things go wrong. Takes work, takes effort. And lastly, live in the present moment. So let me share with you what's coming up that can be helpful. So all of you here are doing Think and Grow Rich, except for some others. Let me see. But what's coming up after this is taking charge of yourself takes work, as we said. And As a Man Thinketh is not even a book. It's more like an essay. It's a 25-page pamphlet. It's the tiniest book ever written. But don't let it deceive you. It's what I would call inversely proportionate. In other words, it's the shortest book that has the greatest impact in a person's life, whereas some books are thick like this and they really say very little. There's a lot of waffle going on there. This is the shortest and most powerful book. Every sentence is so deep and so meaningful and so thought-provoking. So that's coming up at the end of August if anyone wants to join. The price is a little bit higher there than the previous mastermind because it includes a study guide. And we print that for you, and the study guide includes the text of the whole book. So Nancy and I are going to run this one together, and we're working on the content together. So it's very rich and very life-changing. And as much as, you can keep learning about how we change our thinking, this book is wonderful because it's about every area of your life. It's about your character. It's about your life circumstances around you. It's about your physical health. It's about your peace of mind. I can tell you, I think every human being really would love to have peace of mind. Some people, even though they say they want that, they're creating chaos with their thoughts. So this book's quite in your face as well and helps us realize that if we ever feel like we're overwhelmed, have chaos in our life, we are creating all of it. And this book is wonderful in that regard. Regarding the Silva method, just to add this here, feelings of happiness, enthusiasm, inspiration, confidence, calmness, harmony, and peace depend upon the type of thoughts that habitually occupy the mind. So in the Silva method, we work at the subconscious level and we decide to change our results by going deep within, closing our eyes, and using repeated visualization and making impressions. So just before I go into the meditation, the next events are in September for 4 days. That's a Silva method. And then one class in November split between 2 weekends. And then there's also Silva Kids for 8 to 12-year-olds. So one parent needs to be a graduate to do that. Okay. Are there any comments about this evening before I go on? Anybody want to share anything? Any thoughts?
I'll wait for someone else to talk.
Why? Just talk.
Okay. No, I think it's so thought provoking and it's right in your face and it gives you like a wake up slap, which is fantastic. I really, really enjoyed it. And I just want to say that, with the loss of my little darling dog that I had for 15 years, that's a natural feeling of loss and grief. So I have to, or had to, go through that. But at the same time, what I would do, I would cry, and then I would actually say to myself, okay, this is not good for you. It's enough. Just go and put some music on. And I went and I put my music on, and I was actually dancing around here. I didn't really feel that great joy of dancing, but it helped. It helped. It helps when I put music on, and then I was dancing around and so on. And of course, it comes in waves. But yes, the thoughts are important. And for example, my washing machine packed up, and so I went to tell my neighbor. And immediately when I heard myself complain, I said to her, oh my goodness, my washing machine's packed up. And then I said to her, but you know what? There's good news as well. So she said, what is it? So I said, well, the good news is that it actually finished the cycle before it decided to stop, so there's no water in it. So I don't have to drain any water or anything. So yes, you become so aware of what's coming out of your mouth, and then talking about having a problem and trying to fix it. I actually jumped onto Google and Googled my washing machine, the make and the model and everything, and the manual. And I thought, oh, bloody hell, I'm going to fix it myself. But anyway, eventually it turned out, it all ended well. It was just a silly thing, but I instinctively knew, I had this intuitive feeling it wasn't a major problem. Because it finished the cycle, everything to be fine. I just had this feeling there's nothing majorly wrong. Anyway, in the end, it all turned out well, and I phoned the guy that I bought it from. And yes, he helped me solve the problem over the phone. So that's just a silly little bit of news, but it shows you how, yes, you become aware of how you're thinking.
Yeah, and just to actually say that sometimes when something doesn't work or something's broken, or some people just think that's it, and they never think there's possibility. And there's other people, like your example with you, thinking, oh, it's something small, there's possibility. And then those people usually have good outcomes. And the people who just think that's it, it's broken, have the end of the road. So they have to make another choice, and they, more unhappy. So yes, everything's about the way we think. Just a reminder for next Meaningful Monday in August, the title's Breaking Free from the Past. And that's like people saying, I've always been this way. This is how I am. I'm this kind of person. Even to say something, this sounds a bit extreme, even to say, I can't go up there because I'm afraid of heights. I have to just say, it's exactly the same as this lesson. It's the choices we choose about the way we are. We link our identity to past experiences and make them us, but you can change it, and that's what next month's about. Okay, so let's quickly meditate now. What we're going to do for anyone who's new here is just find yourself a comfortable position, grab a pen and paper and a blank sheet of paper, and rest it on your lap in the most comfortable position, because you're going to close your eyes and you're going to relax deeply from head to toe. I'll talk you through it. And at the very end, okay, so we're going to relax from head to toe. You're going to imagine a peaceful scene with a waterfall, and I'll talk you through it. And then at the very end, I'll ask you 2 or 3 questions, which is really about your intention for the month of July. And when I ask those questions, in a very relaxed state, the first thing that pops in your mind, write it down. Don't analyze anything or judge anything. Just write down your first impressions. And why we do this, if you relax enough, you'll actually shut down or quieten the conscious analytical mind. And when you get to the questions at the end, very relaxed, it means the answers that come up for you are actually from your intuition or your higher self or source energy or God or whatever it is for you. But it's from another higher place, not your own mind. And it will be right and true for you, and will guide your life. Okay, so I'm just going to put a bit of music on. I'll put my camera off. And just get comfortable, just relax. And make sure you've got a pen and paper handy. So the goal is to relax your body and relax your mind. That's the goal. And then at the end, you're going to connect with your own inner wisdom or your true self, what we call your higher self. So close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath. And as you exhale, just allow all the tensions in your body to release and float away. Take another deep breath. And as you exhale, just begin to feel your body relaxing. Feel the tension leave your scalp. Relax your forehead. Relax your eyes. Relax your cheeks. Relax your tongue and jaw. Take another deep breath. And as you exhale, relax your neck, shoulders, arms, and hands. Take another deep breath, and as you exhale, feel the tension leaving your back from the top of your spine all the way down to the bottom. Relax your chest. Relax your abdomen. Taking a deep belly breath in your stomach, and as you exhale, just relax that area. Relax your hips and pelvic area. Take another deep breath and allow the tension to leave your thighs. Relax your thighs. Relax your knees. Relax your calves. And relax your feet all the way down to your toes. You are now experiencing a deep state of relaxation. Now, you're going to create in your mind an ideal place of relaxation. It can be real or imagined, somewhere where you've been, or somewhere that you'd like to go. Make sure that you allow it to be a place where you feel totally relaxed. Begin to experience this place right now. Now that you've created your ideal place of relaxation, you're going to add a waterfall of white light into the scene. Place it wherever you choose. The waterfall is gentle, allowing you to stand under the cascading white light. The light is a healing energy, a clearing energy. Your waterfall of light is now created. Walk over to the waterfall and stand under this white healing light. Allow this white light to swirl around you, encompassing you within its glow. It is clearing the stress, the tension, and the clutter of your day. Now experience this waterfall of white light, clearing the stress, tension, and clutter of the past week, the past month of June, and even the past year. Experience that clearing. Now experience it clearing the stress, tension, and clutter of your entire lifetime from your energy field, or from your atmosphere, or from your aura. And as the light clears your energy field, just look how much happier you look. See yourself and notice how much happier you look. Notice the smile on your face. See how the weights you've been carrying are no longer a burden. Notice how your energy field is expanding out as you are radiating love. This waterfall of light is always available to you whenever you need. All you need to do is close your eyes and imagine your ideal place of relaxation, and then immerse yourself in this healing white light. Now, take a deep breath. As you exhale, just relax deeper and repeat these beneficial statements to yourself mentally. Every day, in every way, I am getting better, better, and better. Positive thoughts, suggestions, and images bring me benefits and advantages I desire. I always maintain a perfectly healthy body, mind, and immune system. And the following statements are for your better health. So from now on, I will be talking in your place. Every second, every minute, every hour, every day, every cell, tissue, organ, and system of my body is revitalized, restored, and renewed, resulting in a perfectly healthy body, mind, and immune system. I'm able to function in harmony, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to promote maximum benefits. My awareness in using my mind allows me to do activities that promote increased health, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Now imagine the white light turns green. You are now immersed in a glowing green light. This green light is unconditional love. It surrounds you. It encompasses you. It flows through your entire being and fills you with love. All those hurts you felt, all those pains you felt, the angry moments, allow this green light, this unconditional love, to heal all those spaces now. Take your time. You are an amazing human being. You deserve love, You deserve joy. You deserve abundance. And you deserve peace. It is now time to step out of the waterfall. Step out of the waterfall of light. Your energy field is now clean and clear. You feel centered and energized. You're able to think more clearly, focus more easily. You are in the flow of universal love and energy. So just take a moment to bask in this feeling of connectedness. So you have now reset your body and mind for the month. It is now time to set your intention for the month ahead of July. Tune into your inner wisdom. Tune into your higher self. That part of you that when you tuned in, guides you and intuitively knows what is best for you. Feel the alignment with your higher self. Feel the connection. And now ask yourself the following questions. What do I need to focus on for the month of July? Whatever comes to mind, write it down. Write down your first impressions and then take a deep breath. Close your eyes again and just re-enter your meditation. What do I need to focus on for the month of July? Next question. What steps do I need to take me closer to what I want to be, do, or have? Whatever comes to mind, write it down. What steps do I need to take me closer to what I want to be, do, or have? Next question. What do I need to let go of? Whatever comes to mind, write it down and then take a deep breath. When you're done, close your eyes and go back into meditation. What do I need to let go of? And lastly, is there anything else? Is there anything else you need to know or do? Is there anything else? And now just allow a deep breath, and as you exhale, relax. Slowly bring your attention back into your body. Gently wiggle your fingers and toes. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes and have a big stretch. Lots of blessings to all of you. Okay, welcome back. Was that good?
Yeah.
Did you get some answers?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, all I have to say is well done. And number 2 is trust them. You can trust those answers. If you were deeply relaxed, you can trust them. They're from your intuition, from your higher self. So I'm going to just stop the recording